Okay, Sarah reminded me once again, as I said, thank God Sarah's here, one of my favorite topics, which is ethics. I'm a real believer that, if I'm walking down the street, I'm not going to go up to someone and say, "Oh my God, your dog is screaming at me that she wants a new dog bed." And that's the least of it. Imagine that it's even worse, that, it's something like, "Oh my God, you've got to get divorced. You've got to get divorced. Your dog thinks that he's a jackass." We just can't go do that. And, and one thing that I'm very careful about too is being like in a setting where there are a lot of other animals and I've only been hired to talk to this animal. I'm going to leave it at that. I'm not going to be like, "Oh my God." People ask me all the time, "Is there negative energy here at this barn?" And I just go, "I don't know." Because I'm not going to, again, I'm protecting myself. I'm not going to engage in that. I'm certainly not going to go looking around for negativity. And I also really believe that it's none of my business. And so my business is me. Me is my business. When someone's hired me in my business for something else, that's also my business. But it's only my business in that time. So I'm very careful about how I use this energy. And we have to be very careful with it because, when we start messing around with what isn't ours to be messing around in, I used to, back in the early 90s, of course, go to the psychic and want them to do a reading on whatever stupid boyfriend I had. And, that was really super inappropriate now that I know more. Granted, someone could do a reading with regard to the relationship, but, I certainly don't need somebody spying energetically on an ex-boyfriend. And that's basically what we're doing when we're not being asked to engage. And then I can hear it already. You're all asking, "What about the dog that's abused next door?" Well, there are other ways you can handle that. There's two very important ways. You can call animal control and you can pray. And, when we give it up, when it's out of our control, then a lot of times a magical answer we couldn't have even come up with happens. But we have so much to do with just taking care of ourselves and our own, and then what we're being asked to do for help, as in going and talking to someone's dog, cat, horse, a bird, or iguana, then we're busy. That's a lot. And if we're giving of service 150% to that, we really probably don't have time to check in with all the other dogs at the doggy daycare, or, check in on, "My neighbor's dog is so unhappy." It's like, well, I'm sorry to hear that. We have to really use this for good and be very careful about how we proceed. Does that answer?
Mm-hmm.